Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 and our chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition and we turn out a poem 691, Would You Like Summer? Taste of Ours. Now, this is another poem sent in a letter to Sam Boyles, and there's some information that we want to make sure that you have as we begin this study. This poem will conclude a letter number 229, written to Sam Boyles in February of 1861. He was actually quite ill. Now, in the letter, Emily will tell her friend that she and Sue and Vinny so often discuss his illness, and she adds, quote, "We pray for your new health, the prayer that goes not down when they shut the church. We offer you our cups, stintless, so to the bee, the lily, her new liquors," end quote. And then these words are immediately followed by the poem that we're about to study together. Now, our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at lynchstrong.net. Down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily's our playlist. I'm hopeful that you worked through our set of introductory comments as well as the preceding 690 poems. We just finished with 690, Victory Comes Late. Now, for Emily, many have pointed out, poetry is a kind of prayer. She once wrote to her Norcross cousins after the death of their father, quote, "Let Emily sing for you because she cannot pray," end quote. We've had any number of comments about Emily and her dance with the religion of her youth. In this poem, she seems to be working in metaphor, and she references summer as maybe having something to do with the poems that she has been sending to Sam Boyles as well. She'll use summer in 126 of her poems. It's obviously one of her favorite words. Would you like summer? Taste of ours. Spices? Buy here. Ill? We have berries for the parching. Weary? Furloughs of down. Perplexed? Estates of violet, trouble ne'er looked on. Captive? We bring reprieve of roses. Fainting? Flasks of air. Even for death, a fairy medicine. But which is it, sir? Now, we should point out right away the 11 exclamation points of this poem, right? I mean, that alone makes this an interesting poem. Notice the direct language. Again, we call our series Chats with Emily for a reason. Of course, our assumptions are that you have been following our stuff and that you can get a sense that at moments Emily loves to do this very direct kind of talking. Now again, as we've commented on earlier poems, especially those recently studied, so many of these poems are actually Sam Boyles poems. In other words, they were included in letters to Sam. They were probably never meant to be published and studied the way that we're doing it. So in a way, we're a bit kind of voyeuristic looking in from the outside on these as she's having this conversation with Sam. It is clear, though, that there's a certain tone that says to Sam Boyles, you know, you should probably be paying more attention to me. Emily, again, calling for attention, as we've seen in a number of poems. Notice, would you like summer? And it's interesting, she says taste of ours, and then goes immediately to spices. Now, notice there's almost like an exchange going back and forth here. Many of these exclamation points should probably be understood as question marks, right? By the way, notice the hours here, a taste of ours. Is she referencing poems that she's written? Some scholars seem to think so. Notice she says, spices, buy here, using the economics language. Ill, of course Sam is ill, right, in February of 1861. Ill, notice she says, we have berries for the parching. You'll remember in poem 67, success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. To comprehend a nectar requires sorest need. In other words, she says, if you're thirsty, I can take care of it. She's mentioned thirst in a number of her poems. If she says you're weary, then I have furloughs of down. Now, what's interesting is that if you read this poem as Emily is saying that her poetry is what is in fact the summer, that is to say, the fairy medicine that she'll reference in a bit. Notice what she says about her poetry. It is good for thirst. It's good for when you're weary. If you are perplexed, notice she says, we have estates of violet, troubled ne'er looked on. Captive, if you're captive, we bring reprieve or freedom of roses. And then if you're fainting, notice the F's here, flasks of air. In other words, restorative in some way, reminding us, of course, of what Wordsworth says in Lines Composed a Few Miles Above Tintern Abbey when he talks as well about the restorative quality of poetry in nature. Then she says, even for death, of course, death mentioned in 135 of her poems, a fairy medicine. You'll remember her use of the word fairy from our study of 45 and 500. When we get to poem 981, we'll come back to this use of fairy one last time. As sleigh bells seem in summer, or bees at Christmas show, so fairies, so fictitious the individuals do, repelled from observation, a party that we knew, more distant in an instant than dawn in Timbuktu. This idea of fairy, in other words, magical in some way, medicine. Is she arguing that her poetry is medicinal? Maybe. And then she'll say, but, which is it, sir? In other words, are you going to remain ill, or are you going to choose to, in fact, use my poetry to make you less ill? I think the point here at 2A is that poetry is great for the ill soul. That idea that you can somehow replenish yourself by working through the challenges of, mental maybe challenges or whatever. And poetry is in fact the way to get us there. The tone at 2B is interesting, right? I mean, especially the fact that she uses this word sir at the very end of the poem. And again, at 3A, 919 comes to mind. We will come to poem 919 later, and when we do, we'll be back to this one. If I can stop, Emily says, one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. Notice this fainting word that is, of course, used in this poem as well. Emily as the restorative poet. At 3, I also can't help but remind ourselves of our study of Francis Bacon's Of Studies. You'll remember this. We've given full lectures at LearnStrong.net. Do you remember at the end she says that poetry, studies in general, are like medicine for the different problems that we have. And that poetry will supply us if we have a lack of wit. Then we can use poetry. Finally, at 3B, to own a poem like this, what was a time for you that poetry was summer and it improved somehow your health? I hope Emily is doing that for you even now. Thank you.